friends, it's Steven with Leviathan Snakes, and for this week's video we are going to be talking about our experiences vending local reptile shows, specifically as newer breeders. So we hope you enjoy it. We're going to get into the things that we bring to shows, the equipment, setting up, and we're going to talk about expectations. What can you expect when you vend your first reptile show? In addition to the video, if you're watching this and it is November 17th or later, please check out the description below and check out the Snakes and the Fat Man 15 Minutes of Lane contest. We are contestants this year. You can check out our episode. Again, we're going to link to it down below. But if it's November 17th or later, the voting's open for the lamest reptile breeder of 2022, and we are really gunning for it. So definitely check it out and vote for Leviathan Snakes. Anyways, let's get to the video. My love!
Yes.
Alright, so as you can see, our house is pretty immaculate right now.
We did a lot to make sure it looked good for you guys.
Yep, so why? What's going on? Why is the foyer so clean?
So we are doing a reptile show tomorrow, and we are making sure we have everything ready to go. We're going to show what we bring to a reptile show for anyone who is maybe vending their first show and wants to know what they should have with them.
Okay, awesome. So you want to give us kind of like a rundown first, just kind of show everything that you have?
Everything.
Yeah, well, yeah, however you want to do it. However you want to handle it.
Okay. So I'll do like small things, or big things, or small things.
Big things.
Big things first. Okay. So some of our biggest things would be our banner that we have behind us. So for the banner that we have behind us, we have the stand that it goes on. The banner itself.
The ghost. The purple ghost.
We don't worry about ironing this because it's stretched out so tightly that no wrinkles show. But in addition to that, we like it up high, so we bring these totes that we carry everything so that we can put the stand on the totes, and then we cover the table with this black sheet. So we have, all of that is just the banner, right? So we have the stand, the banner, the totes, and the tablecloth. That is the first thing. So the next thing would be the actual tablecloth. So we own two. This is the one that we use when we have just the one table. It has our most recent logo on it. It's pretty cool and it looks good. It matches. It doesn't match the banner too closely, but it does match the banner. And then this is our original tablecloth that has our original logo on it. I like this one still. Steven likes the newer one better though. And these do get wrinkly, and they don't stretch out nicely. So we have a steamer. You don't have to do that. You can bring an iron, you can have a wrinkly tablecloth, however you want to do you. We have these clips that keep everything in place, I think.
Yep, for the sheet that goes over the totes.
The sheet. All right, so that's like the big stuff. And then you've got your practical stuff. Or are we still doing display?
Hold on, I'm going to take my switch hands real quick because I'm getting tired.
Okay.
Because it's heavy. But I'm either way, if you want to talk about displays or if you want to go into practical stuff. So
let's keep doing displays.
Okay. Whenever you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, it's recording.
All right, so these are our displays. We have 3 of them. They each have 3 tiers. They still have the stuff written on them from the last time. And last show's bedding. We bring these liquid chalk markers that we write prices and what goes on, or what is in each of the slots. And we have more purple bedding for our display cases. In addition, we have our heat tape that goes under each of the tiers that keeps the animals warm in case the building is cold that day. Obviously, we have a thermostat to put that heat tape on, and then we have our display lights that go over the 3 displays that we have. that's going in here. We also use the clips for those cords. All of that has to be plugged into things. So we have extension cords and
Power banks.
Power banks. Going off of the power banks, we have an iPhone charger.
Because we take payments with our iPhone with Square.
Yeah, so was going to go under practical.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine.
Ignore it. Don't forget that I said it.
Don't forget?
No, forget that I said it.
Oh, forget what you said. Okay. So, this is our cash box. And in here we have the locks to our cases. The cases that we have are from top tier displays out of Wake Forest, North Carolina. They come with slots to put your own locks on. So we just have our own little Brinks locks. The cases themselves don't have locking mechanism. In our cash box, we also have our Square reader, since we take payments through Square.
Why did we pick Square?
Huh?
Why did we pick Square?
Because they allow live animal sales, and it's not against their terms of service. So they're not going to hold your money because you broke their rules if you use them. We have a counterfeit pen.
So we can make counterfeit money.
So that we can make counterfeit money. That's going to get us kicked off of YouTube.
Oh, no, I know. It's a joke.
And receipt. For all the cash payments we don't get. And more iPhone chargers. Going along with the, practical things, we have... stickers that we put out. And we have our business cards that we put out. You don't need to zoom in on the business cards because they have everything.
You want to show off the stickers? Awesome.
Alright. We also have some care sheets that Steven created and spelled everything wrong in.
I did. I made so many typos.
General care.
General.
General care. Temperature.
I'm sorry. I burned my English degree.
But these are just little things for folks that maybe aren't purchasing a snake today, but they are curious about them. And it has our, social media information on the back. And they are what we gave out before we had the business cards that Steven was super against. More practical things.
Here, I'm going to switch my hands again. Okay, so.
More practical things. We have a folder in case we need to, write out any receipts and we want to bring those receipts with us. This is also where we keep our pet dealer's license and our certificates of veterinary inspection. And then some hand sanitizer for when people who are purchasing animals want to handle that animal. Obviously, you need something to take your animals home in. So we have deli cups that are hatchling size. We also have hatchling size snake bags and gigantic snake bags that I just ordered them too big. We don't really have any snakes that need a bag that big. So the only other things we'll need are the F10, the ivermectin, and the paper towels.
And the candy. Don't forget the candy.
Well, I have the candy.
The most important thing. Candy. Halloween candy. But Halloween just
It's not really Halloween candy. It's not like it is old, but like a week old. So we have some Halloween candy that we have out on our table. So now I just need to grab our F10, some paper towels, some Windex, and
Ivermectin?
Ivermectin.
All right, let's get it.
Okay, done standing.
So we're here. We got our tubs.
We got a Pinelli. Oh look, who is it? It's us. There we go. Alright, so we're gonna set up and we'll get some more progress ones as we go. Beauty. So we ended up vending the Saturday and Sunday for the Show Me Snakes Grovetown, Georgia reptile show, and it was awesome. We ended up selling 8 animals. We more than covered our costs that it took to vend the show, and it was just a great experience because we were able to hang out with so many awesome people. But if you are getting ready to vend your first show and you're kind of like checking out like what you should expect. First is you should expect to spend money. There are table costs, whether it is $100 for a local show or maybe less, maybe it's a one-day show and it might be like $75. You might have licensing fees, you might require certificates of veterinary inspection. Overall, you should expect to spend money just to vend the show. And I think it's really important to know exactly how much money you need to spend. Because if you're spending $100 to get a table, that is completely different than if you're spending $500 between table, between electricity, between veterinary fees, things like that in order to just vend, because it means that you only need to sell 1 snake versus maybe 2 to 3 snakes in order to break even. And I think that that is the very first expectation that I think that you should have once you start vending is know what it takes to break even, and then only expect to break even. And that does not mean that you will break even, but it will completely shift your perspective. If you go into it bringing 30 animals and you're like, I don't want to leave with anything, it is very unlikely that that is going to happen, especially as a new breeder. Instead, if you go into it bringing 30 animals and you're like, all right, all I need to do is recoup my cost that it took to sell or to vend this show, and then that is 1 less mouth that I have to feed, I think that it's going to set you up way better in the long term. Because ultimately what's going to end up happening is you will end up vending shows that are slow. And if they're local shows, especially with the economy how it is right now, it is very likely that they are going to be slower shows, and it's not going to be people lined up out the door outside to get in. There may be a steady flow of people, but it's not going to feel like the height of COVID when shows first came back. And instead, if you can focus on all I have to do is recoup my costs, I think that it will keep you motivated way longer than the people who vend shows a lot, and when they see that it's a slow show, and they essentially give up before the show's even really going. I also think that you should expect to engage with people. You should not sit on your phone and wait for people to come up and view your snakes, and if they want to buy something that they'll tell you. It's when people come up, you should be striking up conversations with them, finding connections that you can make with them, and essentially showing them that you care for the animals and that you care for the business and that you are a really cool person that they should do business with. And if you can form these connections, that's how you're going to be able to make the show, or you're going to be able to make sales at a local in-person reptile show. Beyond the actual like sales and talking to people and all of that, I think that if you go to a reptile show, even if you're going as a customer, you'll notice that there are some vendors who have put a lot of investment into their marketing for their setup. So they'll have like a really nice banner behind them, they'll have a branded tablecloth, they'll have 3-tier acrylic displays, and then there'll be other vendors that are essentially set up with a bunch of deli cups, and that's pretty much it. And what often happens at these shows is that the people with the really nice branded, marketed setups, they attract more attention than the other setups, and that people are more likely to come up to their table, they're more likely to stay longer, and ultimately make sales. And this doesn't mean that the people with those really nice marketed setups are producing animals that are any better than the non-branded setups. It's just that they are able to catch the consumer's interest first and often hold it longer. And really, when it comes to a sale and you're competing against the person at the table next to you, if people are coming up to your table first, you are getting a better opportunity to make a sale. And at the end of the day, when it comes to reptile shows, that is the reason why people are vending them. They may vend them because they want to get their name out there. They may vend them just to have fun and hang out with other reptile breeders and other reptile people. But the primary goal is to sell animals. And I think that if you are going into a reptile show and you're not doing everything you can to try to sell your animals in an ethical way that is good for the community, I think that it will ultimately leave you disappointed, and it may make you think that breeding ball pythons or breeding reptiles isn't a good idea because you feel that people aren't buying them. When, at the end of the day, it may not necessarily be that people are not buying animals, they may not just be buying them from you. Or they may not be, you may not have the animals that they are looking to buy. So, last thing I'll say before we kind of end the video and all that stuff is I think that there are a few different animals that sell really well at shows, and all of them are in the pet range. They are sub $500 animals. I think that they are bells, I think they are bananas, I think they are single gene pieds, I think that they are really flashy, inexpensive snakes, and this doesn't necessarily mean that it's any particular gene, but think of like fireflies or exanthics, things like that. And then lastly is things that are incredibly cheap. So this is like $50 snakes. And this doesn't necessarily mean that you are always going to sell these, but in our experience, it is way more likely that you are going to sell the sub $500 animals than it is going to be that you are going to sell a $3,000 animal at a local reptile show. Now this might be different if you vend at Tinley or Daytona, but at local reptile shows, it is the pet animals all day long. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you next time.
I'm Hugh, and this is my wife Melissa. We're H&M Exotics, and we're here in Grovetown at the Show Me Snakes Reptile Show, and we're just here to tell you to vote for Team Leviathan in the 15 minutes of lane contest. Vote purple.
I don't know why I did that.
This is Troy from Balls and Strikes Pythons telling you to vote for the lamest people on Snakes and the Fat Man, Leviathan Snakes.
Hi, my name's Alexis.
And I'm Aaron.
We're with Social Serpents, and make sure you vote for Leviathan Snakes.
Are we rolling?
Yeah.
Camera, action.
Good to go.
Scene one. Alright guys, Will and Jen here from the Nake Breeders and Logger Home Geckos. Vote Team Purple. They're the lamest around. So if you don't know, you better know. They lame. Now get out of here.